Venezuela demands that Canada stop being a destabilizing factor in the Caribbean over the territory of Essequibo. Iran files complaint against the United States for the murder in 2020 of the top commander of Quds forces, Qasem Soleimani. In Russia, the government denounced a Ukrainian attack on Crimea on the day of the Holy Trinity. Hello, welcome from the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. The Minister of People's Power for Foreign Affairs of Venezuela, Ivan Hill, issued a statement through his X account in response to the opinions of the Canadian High Commissioner in Guyana, Mark Berman, on the situation that exists in the Caribbean region over the territory of Essequibo. Minister Hill also demanded Canada to stop being a destabilizing factor in the Caribbean region and harshly criticized the position of the Canadian government, which he described as failed and at the service of ExxonMobil. In addition, the head of Venezuelan diplomacy called on the government of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana to refrain from involving other countries in this conflict and reiterated that the only possible and legal way to resolve the conflict is the 1966 Geneva Agreement, which establishes the basis for a negotiated solution. And in Haiti, after an intense two-day government meeting in Port-au-Prince, Prime Minister Gary Conille announced new measures aimed at achieving tangible advances in security for the people. The Prime Minister urged his ministers to inform him of any decisions related to job restructuring, emphasizing the need for action based on concrete results. Conille noted that the focus of the government retreat was on promoting coherent and harmonious environmental action. The Prime Minister, aware of the urgency of the current situation, encouraged the implementation of novel initiatives and consultation with other members of the government before making crucial decisions to maintain smooth and effective communication. In this context, Kenya has offered to send around 1,000 police to stabilize Haiti, along with personnel from several other countries, but the deployment has faced legal challenges in the East African nation. The Kenyan force will leave for Haiti on June 25th to head a United Nations-backed mission to tackle gang violence in the Caribbean country. Government and police sources reported. The mobilization comes as Haitian authorities reorganized their security forces to confront armed gangs, and Saturday saw the first meeting of the Superior Council of the National Police, attended by Prime Minister Gary Conille and the new Director General of the National Police, Romo Normel, as well as other security officials. In Cuba, the influx of tourism increased by 103% in the last 5 months of 2024. On Friday, the National Statistics and Information Office reported that from the beginning of 2024 to May, Cuba received 1.1 million tourists, 102.7% more than in the same period of 2023. The Caribbean country has received more than 1 million international visitors in the fourth quarter after adding more than 150,000 in May. The cumulative figure represents only 34% of the 3.2 million target for 2024. To meet that target, the island must receive an average of 289,302 tourists per month until the end of the year, a number that cannot be reached in any of the past high season months, which included December 2023 to March of the present year. And on Sunday, Peruvian media reported that the prosecutor's office opened an investigation against a group of 20 military personnel for attempted homicide in relation to the repression of December 2022 anti-government protests in the city of Ayacucho that left 10 dead and 20 injured. According to the prosecutor's office, the high number of seriously wounded by bullet impacts confirms that there was a pattern in the behavior of soldiers in charge of containing demonstrators, which contradicts the version of the implicated soldiers who maintain that they only fire into the air and not against demonstrators. In this sense, prosecutor's office formalized the preparatory investigation against at least 7 officers of the highest rank and one of the national police as alleged direct perpetrators of aggravated homicide with malice in the degree of attempt. Former U.S. President Donald Trump said Saturday that he has already decided who will be his running mate in the U.S. presidential election in November. Asked during a campaign rally in the state of Philadelphia if he has already chosen his vice presidential candidate, Trump answered yes. The Republican politician suggested that most probably that person will be present at the presidential debate against President Joe Biden to be held next Thursday, and that for the time being, no one knows his name. Previously, Axios reported that fundraising ability will be a key factor in the election of Trump, and among the possible candidates for vice president for the Republican Party are North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, South Carolina State Senator Tim Scott, and Ohio State Senator James David Vance. Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. All the stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back. In Iran, the government has formalized a complaint against the United States for the January 2020 assassination of Iranian Lieutenant Qasem Soleimani. The judicial body based in the city of Tehran reported Sunday that next July they will hold a public trial against U.S. government authorities and its military. The entity said after compiling over 12,000 pages of documents, the indictment was issued against 73 officials and that it has been forwarded to the First Criminal Court of Tehran. This indictment in the Soleimani case is added to the many crimes being brought against Washington and its allies for the attacks on the Iranian population. The Iranian government also moves forward with the development of their national currency to carry out financial transactions with other countries. According to the Iranian Central Bank authorities, the idea is still under development, while stressing that the first project in this respect will be launched soon with Russia. The initiative was presented at a ceremony for the inauguration of a project to introduce the digital rial in the nation, a mechanism that began to be developed 3 years ago with the participation of Iranian banks. This initiative has entered the stage of widespread testing so that people will now be able to make purchases and transfer funds by using the digital rial. In Palestine, the Colonization and War Resistance Commission accused the government of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of intensifying the theft of Palestinian land in the occupied West Bank. A statement issued by the institution denounced that since the arrival to power of that cabinet at the end of 2022, radical changes were approved to promote the expansion plans of settlements, occupying and stealing more and more Palestinian lands. The Commission also condemned the forced displacement of civilians in various communities to expand settlements in the occupied territories, actions considered illegal by the international community and several United Nations Security Council resolutions. To date, Israel has invaded close to 2,700 hectares of land in the occupied West Bank. In Palestine, Israeli forces detain more Palestinians in the occupied West Bank. Organizations defending the rights of Palestinian prisoners confirmed that the Israeli occupation forces carried out a series of arrests in the West Bank, detaining at least 20 people, including minors and high school students. They also denounced the ill treatment accompanying the arrest, including beatings, threats against their families, and damage to their property. These organizations denounced that the number of Palestinians arrested in legal raids since October 2023 amounts to more than 9,300 in the West Bank. Meanwhile, in South Africa, 10 parties agreed to form national unity government. The African National Congress, the ruling party in South Africa, announced that 10 political formations have reached an agreement to form a government of national unity. After signing the declaration of intent, the parties noted that together they hold more than 70% of votes in the 2024 elections, guaranteeing broad representation and a strong mandate to govern. The coalition groups the ANC and Democratic Alliance, the country's two largest parties, as well as the Patriotic Alliance, the Inkatha Freedom Party, Good Party, the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania, the Freedom Front Plus, and others. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi was sworn in as a member of the 18th Lok Sabha, the lower house, marking his third consecutive term. The first session, which runs until July 3rd, is expected to review Modi's plans for his third term and the likely formal appointment of Rahul Gandhi as leader of the opposition, a post vacant since 2014. Indian lawmakers began to take the oath of office on Monday with the opening of Parliament, after an electoral setback forced Prime Minister Narendra Modi to form a coalition government for the first time in a decade. Modi's first two terms ended in landslide victories for his Bharatiya Janata Party, allowing his government to pass laws in Parliament with little debate. For his part, Rahul Gandhi, 54 years old, defied analysts' expectations and helped his party nearly double its parliamentary numbers, its best result since Modi came to power a decade ago. We have a fun short break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience. You can scan the QR code on screen to join directly, share the link to reach more people, constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean, as well as the rest of the world. Stay connected and informed with teleSUR. Fun short break, don't go away. Welcome back. In Russia, the government denounced a Ukrainian attack on Crimea on the day of the Holy Trinity. Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova declared that Kiev's choice of attacking Crimea on the day of the Holy Trinity is a sign of hatred towards Russia. She added that it is not a coincidence, but a sign of hatred towards the Russian culture, orthodoxy, and Christianity. The diplomat also said that it is not the first time that Ukraine chooses to attack Russia on a holiday in order to maximize the impact on the civilian population and instill panic. On Sunday, the governor of the city of Sebastopol, Mikhail Razvozhaev, reported a Ukrainian attack with cluster munitions against the Crimean Peninsula. According to the authorities, during the attack, at least 5 people were killed and 124 were wounded. The governor said that 5 planes were destroyed over the sea near the city, but fragments of the destroyed aircraft fell on the coastal area, affecting the families in the area. Authorities confirmed that the situation in the peninsula is difficult, and emergency teams were dispatched to transfer some of the victims to a hospital. The European Union on Monday adopted the 14th package of sanctions against Russia, which includes restrictions on the transit of Russian liquefied natural gas and adds new individuals and companies to the list of those already sanctioned. The new restrictions cover 116 individuals and companies from Russia and abroad. The European Council added 61 new companies to the list, including entities from China, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Turkey, and the United Arab Emirates, accusing them of supporting Russia's military-industrial complex by supplying dual-use goods and technologies. The EU also includes in the package a number of provisions to support compensation claims by European companies for damages resulting from Russian response sanctions and exit from the Russian market. In Honduras, heavy rains this week wreaked havoc in different regions of the country, leaving almost 10,000 people affected and at least 3 dead. The data shown in the reports of Permanent Contingency Commission state that more than 9,000 people were affected, almost 4,000 were stricken, and more than 1,000 were evacuated and distributed in more than 2,000 families. The trigger for these weather events is attributed to the phenomena in the Pacific and the Gulf of Mexico, generating serious damage to housing infrastructure, with 364 homes affected, 25 destroyed, and 61 communities isolated. Given the seriousness of the situation, 5 departments have been declared on red alert, while 3 remain on yellow alert and another 3 on green alert. A severe heat wave is affecting much of Europe, with record temperatures and extreme conditions. Torrential rains this weekend have even cut off a town in Switzerland. This summer is expected to be one of the hottest since records have been kept. In fact, areas such as Greece have seen a drastic increase in average temperatures in recent years, leading to an increased likelihood of wildfires. According to the World Meteorological Organization, this heat wave is coming from North Africa and is making its way across the Mediterranean to the coast of European countries. The main consequence is that countries such as the United Kingdom, France, Belgium, and the Netherlands have registered record high temperatures so far this year. And on Sunday, Greece reported more than 60 forest fires in one day. In the meantime, 13 crew members of a tourist yacht were arrested on suspicion of starting a fire on the island of Hydra after setting off fireworks. While Greek firefighters were extinguishing 66 forest fires reported between Friday and Saturday, authorities arrested 13 crew members of a tourist yacht after launching fireworks from the vessel. The members of the pyrotechnic devices set fire to the only pine forest on the island. Although citizens tried to extinguish the fire and called the fire department before leaving the site, the flames advanced 120 hectares. As a result, a court in the port city of Piraeus indicated the crew members on criminal charges who could face sentences from 10 to 20 years in prison if proven guilty at their trial next Wednesday. We have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. Also join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For telesur English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.